Welcome to On Thick Ice, a podcast about navigating relationship intricacies by two people who are just trying to make one work. I'm Emily.
And I'm John. Each week, we'll be tackling the pressing issues we all face in our relationships but rarely address head on.
So, how'd you really meet your partner? A question that for some is very easy to answer, and for others, not so much. But what is it about this question that makes couples feel the need to lie about their first encounter? Why can't you just admit that you were horny swiping through Tinder at 2 a.m. and fell in love? Are there certain types of people who are more likely to lie about how they met their partner? Is there any good reason to hide how you met? Let's talk about it. But before we do, make sure you stick around to the end of the episode to find out about our very first giveaway and how you can win.
Woot woot.
Woo woo! I
All
love doing giveaways.
So now we can talk about it.
Now we can talk about it.
What is it?
It is how did you really meet?
You know, I thought about this to the point of giving myself a headache the other night.
I know.
I legit strained trying to remember a time that I lied about meeting a girlfriend.
Okay.
I just couldn't come up with anything.
Mhm.
Nothing. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not a saint by any means. I've lied about sleeping with someone, both did and didn't sleep with.
Okay.
Don't judge. I was a late bloomer.
Okay.
You go by my word, I probably lost my virginity 5-6 years before I really did. Shit happens. The real number was 18. It was either it was just shy of 18. I was almost 18.
Oh gosh, I was 15.
Yeah.
Ugh, I know.
We should do an episode about that.
Oh, believe me, I could.
Yuck. So I've lied about sleeping with people. I've lied to people's faces that I don't know them, even though I did. It's my version of ghosting. I call it haunting. You can still see me. I just don't know you.
Okay.
Fun?
No, I like that. I'm sorry. I don't. No, I wasn't at that party. No. You have me mistaken with someone else.
Have you not done that before? Like
I wanted to.
you met somebody or you're at a bar or a party or something and you meet somebody and you're hammered. All right.
Naturally.
Right. So, I mean, you're already like predisposed to forgetting. But then you see them the next day and it all comes back to you and you just don't even acknowledge their presence. And then they come up to you and you're like, huh?
I've done that with one night stands.
Who this? New brain.
Exactly.
All right. I've even dated a woman for nearly a month without knowing her name.
Oh, John. Was it me?
No.
Okay.
It was not you. It was not you. So I guess I don't know. Is that a lie about how you met somebody? I mean.
It's a lie about how much you know about them.
Well, there was no know about, but.
Because you didn't know her name.
I don't even remember how that started. I know that she was at my house and I didn't know her name.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah. And then one day she finally revealed it.
What was it?
Oh, she was just talking about herself. She was like, "Oh, Jen, you're so stupid."
Was that her name,
Yeah,
Jen?
yeah. And I was like, "You are stupid, Jen. Really.
You're stupid,
really
John."
Stupid." But she was a crazy bitch and I don't like her. And if I had the opportunity today, I would haunt her. Yes.
Okay.
Huh?
Fuck
Who
you,
dis?
good.
Who this? I heard you talk about me on the podcast. So what about you? Have you ever lied about the way you met somebody to friends, family, anybody?
You know what? I don't think so, because I've always leaned into the embarrassment of it. It's always been sort of embarrassing. And funny enough, shout out to my girl Kaylee, it has almost always involved her. With the exception of like 2 of my boyfriends, it's all come back to Kaylee. My 3 boyfriends that I had in high school, including the one that I dated for 3 years, Kaylee dated them first. 2 Jimmys and a John. And this was all in the same year.
I was about to say, were they really fast?
Yes. She dated those first 2 both for probably like 2 weeks. And then like a month later, I dated them. And then John, who I dated for 3 years, she dated for 3 months before we started dating. So then it was just a running joke of Emily dates Kaylee's sloppy seconds. So never really lied, just kind of leaned into the embarrassing second choice ugly friend factor of it all. But she also introduced us. So all of my meeting stories pretty much have to do with her. And the other two boyfriends that I had were one I met at a party in college, and one I was the one that was not my boyfriend. So no, I don't tend to lie.
All right. So before we dive into this topic
Mhm.
and learn why couples lie about how they met, let's first look at the depth couples are willing to go with their fabricated stories.
Okay.
We were able to like really sum this up into 4 primary buckets.
Right.
First, you have, drum roll please.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
That was like a Christmas family vacation. Oh God, now you're blasting my brain.
Well, what do you want?
I don't want anything. Fine. All right. First, you have those that tell a 100% fabricated story to everyone. No exceptions at all.
They are taking that orgy to the grave with them.
That is not an orgy I want to be a part of. Then you have those that will tell different folks different stories.
Or you've got the one person that tells one story and the other that tells another story, so everybody knows a different story.
That's weird, yeah. I was thinking more along the lines of like telling certain people a fabricated story, those that are a bit less open-minded.
Well, I mean, there's that, but sure.
So next, you have those that don't tell the entire story or bend the truth.
Mhm.
Some portions of the story were acceptable, but just needed a touch-up here and there.
Like, we met at the bank, but you just leave out the part that you were both there to rob it.
And coming in last, you have those that could care less about how others feel about how they met.
They just don't give a fuck. Enter, me and you.
Absolutely.
Do not give a fuck. So, why do people lie about how they met? This is a very foreign topic to us because we love our story and we love telling people that we met through a mutual friend. We shared a similar disliking to each other over a billing incident at a restaurant.
Yes, the billing incident that she paid for her check while the rest of us were outside. When all of us came back in, I was going to pay for the group, but somebody had already paid for themselves and has never let me live it down.
Because somebody had to make a show about, oh, well, I was going to pay for you, but oh,
That is not how it went
you
down.
so did,
Well, that's what I was going to do.
jerk.
I was going to pay for the food. And while we were outside on the patio, you decided to pay for yourself. And I mean, it's not my fault you did that.
So this is my punishment for not being a smoker.
Yes, paying for your own damn meals. Should take up smoking.
So then our first accidental date was at a strip club. We went back to his apartment. I never left. The end. Now we're married. Beautiful story to us. We don't give a fuck if people feel a certain way about how we met because we embraced the hilarity of the situation. Even though it was messy and weird, it worked out and that's what matters. So this is very simple for us, but you know, for some people they do feel embarrassed or ashamed or could even suffer legal consequences because of their secrets and it gets a bit more tricky.
That it does.
Okay, so we tried to do some research into like why people lie. Is there a psychology behind it? Is there anything on the internet that could help guide us here? And after being dissatisfied with our findings from the Googs, we had to sort of chart our own course for this topic. What?
I can't believe you actually said googs. I have a part in my thing here. God, I hope she says googs. I slipped that in after we prepared.
Okay. So, between the two of us, we were able to identify 5 primary reasons for why couples make up fake stories about how they met. The first 2 are very similar, but they do have their own purpose on this list, so just bear with me, okay? We got number 1, trying to impress yourself because your real story didn't exactly turn out the way you envisioned it. Meaning your meeting was nothing more than a late night desire to get laid, a swipe right and done, but then you fell for the person. So that's not the story you were supposed to tell all your friends. It's not as cool as Karen's story. What are you going to do about that? I think this is where the pressure of like the meet cute comes in.
Yeah. You know, I personally, I just don't like those 2 words next to each other.
No.
They just don't work with me. I mean, it's kind of like Karen. I hear Karen and you are triggered.
Yes.
I hear meet cute and I'm just annoyed as fuck because I don't like it.
Okay.
So for those reasons, I had to know like where this term came from.
Mhm.
That who can I point the finger at for
Mhm.
this awkward words next to each other? And it actually it's a very interesting story because it was accidental. The term was actually coined in 1938 in a movie called Bluebeard's Eighth Wife.
Wow.
So the author, I think, it's a film. So
Director?
the writer, the film director,
Okay.
Ernst Lubitsch.
Ernst Little Bitch.
Lube, it's...
Sounds like a Nazi.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it was German in 1938.
The point is that he didn't know how to explain the relationship in English between the two primary characters.
Okay.
They had a meeting that was apparently cute,
Mhm.
and his bad interpretation, we have the meet cute.
Meet cute.
So if Ernst Lübsch only knew that his bad English would be the thing that solidified his name in history. And I think to correct that, I think everybody who's listening to this should pull out their... I don't even know what these machines were back in 1938. Were they film like reels, projectors?
I don't know. You were alive. I wasn't.
Anyways, go watch Bluebird's Eighth Wife. Let's see where this happened. And
was it cute?
Right. And can you even see it with the quality?
Right.
Proceed.
But basically, the Meet Cute, I thought it came from The Office. I thought that was a Kelly Kapoor, Mindy Kaling special, but whatever. Apparently, I was wrong. All of us are bombarded from the time we know how to comprehend a story with the idea of, like, the moment that you meet the love of your life. Like Notting Hill, you grab the same book at the bookstore. You drop your bag in the street and they help you pick it up, like Sex and the City. You build the story for 9 seasons of hit TV only to kill her off in the 3rd act of the finale, looking at you, How I Met Your Mother. We've all seen that show or movie, and that will never not piss me off. I hate that show.
The mother was only around for like an episode.
I know.
I mean,
so fucking stupid. Oh, God.
I mean, did her contract run out? Like,
I agree. Like, what the hell?
I still loved the show.
I hate that show.
I love it.
Ugh. Okay. Anyway.
You are a bad person.
I don't care. We've all seen that show or movie, and whether we're doing it subconsciously or not, we all crave a meet cute. Like, we want to swoon over the day that he grabbed your latte thinking it was his cappuccino, and the rest was history. But, like, let's face it, swiping right is efficient as hell, but it's not swoon worthy.
Let me start by saying that we do not all crave a meet cute.
No. Is it just me?
No.
Did I watch too many rom-coms
I don't
growing
think
up?
it's just you. I think generally speaking, I hope I wasn't alone in not knowing what the fuck a meet cute was. And to be honest, like, I did not know what I never even heard the term before Chatatata said it in 21 Jump Street.
Oh, Channing Tatum?
Yes, that guy, Chatatata. Yeah, I mean, for myself, I don't think I've ever experienced anything close to a meet cute. But if I did, I would totally imagine my story to be like Shrek and Fiona. Yes, that is my meet cute right there.
Slay the dragon, throw her over your shoulder, and
I mean, yeah, and there's a talking donkey. I mean, come on, how can this not be more perfect? What I do love about that, though, is like that is the common. She had a vision of how she wanted to get saved,
right?
And I just think it was so funny. Like, this is probably the best relatable story.
Yeah.
To this topic that I could even find.
Well, that's why Shrek is a modern classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're so right. She's like, you're supposed to do this. And he's like, no, let's get the fuck out of here.
Right. There's a dragon who's talking to my donkey.
Donkey is inexplicably going to fuck this dragon for whatever reason.
So anyways, the point behind our first reason is that you've been building up this grandiose scene in your head since you were a child, and it fell apart. You have to face it. Yeah. You were rescued by an ogre with a talking donkey. And every day at sunset, you're also going to turn into an ogre.
Kind of sounds like my life. You and Olive.
But, that's kind of funny. After all of these years, I think I finally understand the message from Shrek.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
Is the message that your wife is inevitably going to turn into an ogre at night?
I mean, you could look at it that way. I worded it a little differently.
Oh, was I right?
No, you were not right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'll let you be the judge of that. Okay. How about that? Okay. So you can put on whatever show you want in front of others and tell all the stories you can think to tell. But at the end of the day, there is no hiding who you really are or how you met. Because she's still a fucking ogre.
She's still...
What the hell did they find now?
A fucking pellet.
Jesus. I would go, but it's a much larger walk for me. So yes.
Yes.
That is now my understanding of the message from Shrek.
I think that's a pretty good understanding of it.
Yes. And I also think that we better move on before I start learning that all of my childhood favorites had hidden moral stories, and I don't need to know that.
Okay. Okay, so I thought I would cap each of these reasons off with a story that I found online. Reddit is a treasure trove of these people lying about how they met. So for this one, this couple lies, but honestly, I'd consider this a meet cute. I don't know why they would lie about it. So this guy says, we met at the gym. She was on a Stairmaster facing into the room with a mirror behind. Speaking of behind, she caught me staring at hers in the mirror. I was on my 57th rep on the chest press machine across from her. My pecs were hella sore the next few days, but I got a date. I think that's cute. I mean, yeah, you were looking at her kind of creepy, but if she liked it, then that's fine.
I mean, isn't that how all like encounters happen? Like
At the gym?
well, no, you like one person is staring at the other one's things.
You gotta
in
stare at them a
some
little bit
capacity, right?
while you get up the nerve to ask.
Right. I mean,
Right.
part of the mystery is wondering what those things look like. I mean, inevitably, it's going to start there somehow,
Right, exactly.
unless you're on one of those creepy TV shows where people don't even know what country you're in.
Chris Hansen comes in and says, "Do you know why I'm here?" Is it Chris Hansen?
I have no idea.
Me either. I think that might actually be the guy from The Bachelor.
No.
But whatever. Anyway. Okay, so moving on to number 2. Similar to number 1, but trying to impress others because you feel your real story will not meet the expectations of others. So again, we come back to the notion that you should meet someone a certain way, that there are acceptable and unacceptable ways to meet a partner.
You
Like,
think?
do I think?
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. I'm just saying that's
Oh, just a.
possibly a notion.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Maybe you want to keep up certain appearances, like we fell in love when we locked eyes at spin class. No, Brenda, you met him at McDonald's arguing over who got to buy the last apple pie, and that's okay.
Yes.
I really like those McDonald's apple pies. That's the only kind of apple pie I like. And ever since I wrote this down, I've been like, man, that sounds good.
Maybe you can get one in your adult Happy Meal.
Yes. And then you've got, maybe you just have like a judgy family or something. Like if they're super religious, they might not like that you met at a nightclub, so that you just tell them it was like a library or something. So this is less about how you feel about how you met, but how you feel others will perceive the story. So we've got another story from Reddit. This is a fun one. My husband and I met while I was dancing at a strip club. He asked me out many times over a year's time. I always said no at first because I didn't want to be that girl at work. After him coming in to see me multiple times a week to just sit, drink, and talk, I finally agreed to a date. We've been together ever since. We just tell most people that we met at a bar while I was a waitress. We mainly lie to his family because I'm much younger than my husband and it's not his first marriage. Feels like they don't know me well enough to not think negatively of how we really met. So, I'm not saying I would lie personally about that, but I get why you would be wary of people's judgment in that situation.
Yeah, I could see that. And I mean, it's a little eye opening for me because all that really tells me is that I should have just kept going back.
To the strip club?
Yeah.
And you eventually would have
I
gotten a
would have
stripper?
got one. Ah. But I nabbed you.
Damn. Consolation prize.
No, I don't think I could deal with dating a stripper. Nope. That's good. Thank you. But no. Yeah, I think back on my initial meeting your family for the first time. And I know that Mom had to have asked how we met.
Right.
And I know in that time, day one,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to tell the story about how, our first date was in a strip club and
Yeah.
she came home with me and never left.
Yes.
So I'm not exactly sure what story we did tell them though. What did we just like say we met through a mutual friend? Like what did we
I
say?
think we just said we met at Brick House.
Yeah, I think
We didn't go into the full scope of it all.
Yeah, I mean that's not a lie. I mean,
No, it's not a lie.
We did meet at Brick House. So
We just left out the part where we got together.
right.
So
Yeah.
it's a lie by omission, but
Well,
she knows now.
I was about to say we clarified the damn thing anyways.
Yeah.
But what's funny about this specific one, trying to impress others, is the whole time I'm thinking about this, the only thing I have in my head is the grandparents from Gilmore Girls.
Okay. Emily and Richard.
Yes. Could you imagine meeting them for the first time and like what you would tell them about a meeting story. Like I, I hate to speculate, but there ain't shit going on in Stars Hollow.
Right.
If you think about it, like I don't think they even have like a strip club or a crack house or any of the fun places that you would need to lie about in
Right.
Stars Hollow.
Right.
So like after all the stupid like harebrained business ideas that Kirk came up with, yeah, I'm really disappointed that he did not do the red light district in Stars Hollow.
He did not.
No, it's like the Stars Hollow behind the scenes.
Right.
Yes, it's the
Behind the curtain. The seedy underbelly of Stars Hollow.
right. But yeah, so that was a weird train of thought. Started with the parents.
No, but yeah, that they're a good example of someone that you might want to lie to.
Even if you're impressive,
Right.
it's not going to work. You're not in the same social circles we
Exactly.
are. Yeah, your stature is little.
Uh-huh.
That's where you are. Cool. All right, back to the lies. My last contribution for this reason, the reason of telling people what you think they want to hear, is the one-uppers.
Okay.
Yes. So you know them,
Yes.
you avoid them like the plague,
Yes.
but you somehow always end up in a conversation with these fucks. Always.
Yeah.
Those that cannot handle being outdone and will go to any extent to have a better, bigger story than yours.
Yep.
But for myself, I personally love fucking with one-uppers, especially when you know them well enough to really get them going, right?
Okay.
That's what I really like doing. So if this is something that our listeners may be interested in, it's actually very easy and so much fun.
Okay.
So much fun to do this.
Uh-huh.
All you have to do is be in a social setting with said one-upper and wait. They will come to you. They will come to you. And when they do, all you have to do is one down their one up.
Okay.
Okay? That's all you have to do. So here, I'm gonna run through a little.
Give me an example.
Yes. I will be happy to because I have one prepared already.
Okay.
How convenient.
How convenient.
Yes. Did you know I had this prepared?
Yes.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Well, you assumed.
I assumed.
Okay. One upper approaches.
Mhm.
Hey, John. I heard you met someone new. That is so exciting. I also met someone new. She's a Victoria's Secret model and only wears lingerie all the time. You'll have to stop by my mansion with your new girlfriend one day for a movie date at my my home full-size IMAX theater.
Okay.
So I would immediately respond with a one down to change the narrative, okay?
Mhm.
So I would respond with, I would love that, but she was recently attacked by a wolf that only wears lingerie. It may be too soon for her to be around lingerie for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
So now you've gone like much lower than his story. And
Right.
in the true spirit of a one-upper, all they want to do is beat your extreme. So let's see what our one-upper would say in return here.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That is horrible. Please let us know if there is anything we can do. I know exactly how you feel, as my ex was also attacked by an animal that only wears lingerie. But it was a griffin that grabbed her with their talons, flew away, and dropped her in an inescapable quicksand pit where her body parts were recovered. She did not die because of being dropped in the quicksand. She died during the fall because the griffin took her so high she was ripped apart by lower atmospheric space junk. We only recovered 50% of her body, hence why I'm no longer with Jessica.
What the fuck?
So basically what we did here is we got him going down a negative path now.
Right.
Instead of being a one-upper, he's now trying to be a one-downer.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
So basically he's still competing to have the most extreme story,
Mhm.
but is now going the opposite direction.
Right.
At this point, all you have to do is go less extreme than him.
Right.
Okay? That's
Mhm.
all you have to do. So I would respond, oh, wow, how crazy. I wonder if it was the same griffin that scratched my finger the other day. Nothing a Band-Aid couldn't handle, but just a stinging for a bit. So now that your suspect is confused and not exactly sure if he should one up or one down you back, you enjoy the beautiful chaos you have created and sit back and continue to respond just less extreme than him. Eventually, you'll get bored and will have to leave to wash your hair or some shit. But yes, the story was very extreme. I
Yes.
understand. But the point behind it is you can take control of that conversation very easily
Right.
by just fucking with them.
Yes.
And just seeing where the story goes and
See what they'll say.
where they take it. I mean, now you just purchased entertainment for yourself.
Yes.
Verbally. So good times.
All right, so we'll move on to number 3, and that is living a secret life that most people are not aware of. This is like embarrassing or inconsequential personal interests, like meeting at a cosplay convention, a Dungeons and Dragons group, Magic the Gathering, a knitting club. Like not, nothing bad, but maybe just a side of yourself that you don't share with people,
Meeting at a rave.
Meeting at a rave.
There's no disputing the implications of what goes on at raves.
Right.
Or the story about the man who met his wife while he was helping her break down a large amount of cocaine into sellable portions. I can hear the stories already.
She was his trap queen.
Yeah. Grandma on the couch telling, the kids, don't do drugs, but this is how me and Grandpa met.
Right. Another example of this, I think, would be dating apps. So I don't think they're necessarily embarrassing, but if you just don't want people to know that you slept with 100 other people before accidentally falling for this one, maybe you don't want them to know the true intentions. Like we just were swiping away at 2 a.m., hookup culture, just trying to get laid, and we fell in love. I can see why you might not want to be forthcoming about the intricacies of the meat.
Meat.
You could say.
Where's the meat?
Because it's a double-sided coin. Like, you could say, maybe you're not embarrassed to be on Tinder because you want to find love, so you can say, like, oh, like, yeah, we met on Tinder. I was looking for a boyfriend. Maybe that is embarrassing for you. But also, maybe you weren't looking for love and you just happened to fall in love with this one, but you don't want to go into the whole thing of, like, yeah, I was just horny and, she never left.
So I do struggle with this concept a bit.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure I'm the one who put this here.
Yes.
So maybe I had a change of heart.
Okay.
So assuming that people are embarrassed or hesitant to say that they met on an app because it implies they were just looking for a hookup, how is that any different than me coming up to you in a bank or in a grocery store? I mean, my intention initially is, I'm going to go talk to that because of things.
I want to see her naked.
But I seriously doubt that in any scenario, your gut reaction was, damn, I'm going to marry that bitch. Or I'm going to marry the shit out of you. That is not something that people say. So when you're trying to, I guess, hide the intent of your encounter, how is that any goddamn different?
I think it takes you back to, maybe that's not what everybody thinks, but like that's what we feel like people should think. Love at first sight. I dropped my shoe at the ball and he found me and it fit perfectly, like there's a big difference in reality and what we want others to perceive us as.
No, I get it. I think it's funny that people completely negate the facts that any encounter has intent.
Right.
I didn't talk to you because I wanted to marry somebody. I talked to you because I liked your butt.
Right.
Kind of like what we talked about earlier. Yeah. I got caught staring at your ass, and I had to think of something quick. There's a fuzz on it. Let me get it for you.
Right.
And then you get slapped.
Another thing that I think kind of falls under this category that I was thinking about is like arrangement types of relationships. Like, you met on seeking arrangement, you pay her an allowance. Yes, maybe there's feelings and you call her your girlfriend, but the basis of the relationship is transactional.
So is this like a rental girlfriend?
It's like a sugar daddy.
I'm not familiar with seeking arrangement. I don't know.
It's when it's a website to hook up sugar daddies with sugar babies.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, like, those things can turn into actual legit relationships, and some people will argue that they are actual legit relationships, but like, yeah, do you really want to tell people that you pay her to hang out with you? I get why you might not want to. You might just be like, oh yeah, we met on Tinder. instead of yeah. I
That is the positive
yes.
lie in this scenario. Oh, that's funny.
Another example. One or both of you had an affair that led you to being together. I understand wanting to keep this one under wraps because, well, one, people probably know. Like, the people in your circle probably know what happened. But, like, for everybody else, like, you both probably suck. Like, you don't want to. That's just an awful. I don't like it.
I wrote down the same thing. It's just, you can't hide this.
Yeah.
Everybody around you
Yes.
watched it.
Yes.
And then a month after your divorce,
Mhm.
this new person moves in
Mm-hmm.
that is oddly familiar.
Mm-hmm. Especially if both of them had an affair.
Yeah.
Like, if all of a sudden I move in with Taylor, everyone's gonna know what happened.
Right. You know, it's kind of funny, like, just thinking about that. The idea that, let's just say both people in a relationship are cheating on each other,
Mhm.
right? Let's say they're cheating on people that are also married.
Okay.
Okay, cheating with
People who are also
that are
married.
also married. Yeah. And then you start to you monitor the divide of friends.
Right. Yeah.
And it's it's kind of like March Madness in my brain, like, but
The
opposite.
brackets.
It's like opposite bracket, like which friends go where,
Who gets custody of who?
who's like the tap in tap out, you know, people, like,
Right.
I'm yours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And,
Exactly.
oh man, that's so funny, man. I know that I'll never get an answer to that, but it sounds fun.
Yes. And then the last example that I thought of for this one was like if you meet through the kink community. This is very interesting to me because I really understand it. Like, you have this community and you probably have friends and you have, you know, like a whole life, and that's all great and wonderful and fine, and I'm sure that they all know how you met. But like, does your mom need to know that you met on a site that caters to men who like their balls crushed? Probably not. It's like, you know, that's just, I think that's an okay thing to leave out of the story because it and I would feel the same like if we met on a site for people who just like missionary sex, you know, like your mom doesn't need to know that. Your mom doesn't need to know about your sex life, even if that's the thing that brought you together in the first place. Like, it's okay to, you know, leave that out of the conversation.
You save those stories for when your mom starts talking about the dumb shit.
Yes.
From like your first relationships,
Yes.
or she used to catch you masturbating or something like that, and be like, "Yeah, we met on a fuck site. What up?"
Right.
That's ammo.
So yes, that's actually my example story from the interwebs for this one.
You ever heard of Needle in a Haystack?
Yes.
I met this one, Toe in a Haystack. There was at least 1,000 of them in there. This is the one I got. I'm a foot guy. I don't know. I'm not a foot guy.
Oh gosh. Okay. So anyways,
that's a new thing. People are good. It's gonna come a thing.
Uh-huh.
The foot stack.
Uh-huh.
That's gross.
I love how you just think you're creating these phenomenons.
I don't know if I've ever seen 1,000 feet in a haystack and you get stuck with the one you whatever they're doing with the toes, and I don't know.
Sounds like a Dan Schneider wet dream.
My story just fell apart. All right, just
okay.
Go. It's not going to be a thing.
All right. Okay, so this girl or this person says, my boyfriend and I met at a BDSM event. We know tons of people in the Atlanta kink community and have to not only lie about how we met to family, mostly his, but we also have to lie about where we met our friends from. We say a divorce support group. It's annoying to have to lie, but it keeps the peace, I guess. So they don't seem like they actually really want to be lying, but I guess it would cause issues if they knew. It's probably more annoying to have to lie about how you know your friends more than how you met your partner, because
they were in the same hay bale.
Right, exactly.
Consolation prizes. I don't know. This is starting to gain feet here.
Yes.
I mean, pretty soon we might have legs.
I'm No.
Cut that out.
I hate you. Or maybe you're just furries, and no, that's just embarrassing. You should absolutely lie about that all the time to everybody.
I'm not gonna hate on anybody who likes some weird shit. All right.
Oh, I will.
I'm not gonna do that. But I don't know how to feel about that one. I don't know.
I don't judge anybody except furries.
You love animals.
Not like that. So number 4, another reason that you might lie. Legal reasons. So a green card marriage, right?
Yes.
That's my example for this one. One of my coworkers has a great story about how he met his wife at the park on a sunny afternoon. Another coworker who has known him for close to 20 years told me that the real story is that it was a personals ad. He was looking for an Asian girl and she was looking for citizenship.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I actually know someone whose dad had a green card marriage. Now that I'm thinking about it. Not a green card marriage, a mail order bride is what I'm thinking of. It was an ex-boyfriend's dad. Mom and dad got divorced, and then he legit got a mail order bride from Russia.
Is that legal?
I don't know the legality of it.
Yeah, because I actually listed that here as well. Like, I wasn't sure if that was legal or not, but I mean, it seems like it would be illegal.
I mean, it does seem illegal, but I guess it depends on who you're paying and what the implication of it is. You know, because it's like there's a fine line there. It's kind of like how sugar daddying is legal, but prostitution isn't because of the implication. So, like with a sugar daddy, the implication is that you're paying to spend time with this person, or you're paying for their lifestyle so that they will hang out with you. But 9 times out of 10, you're also having sex with them. And that's really what they want, is to have sex with a hot young girl, right? But the legal workaround is that I'm not paying her for sex. I'm giving her money in exchange for her spending time with me. So in the mail order bride situation, I also don't know who gets the money there, but it is you're paying them, you're giving them money so that they can come to another country and gain citizenship. You're helping them come to the country, not buying them. I think that's the legal workaround. If there is one, I don't know if it's legal. I honestly don't. But that's just what I would assume. But if you have a mail order bride, if you've ever done this, if you have a green card marriage, let us know. Let us know how that works, and if you have ever gone to jail for it, because I would love to know.
We don't accept collect calls.
No. Another legal reason that is probably not as common anymore now that gay marriage is legal in America, but like a beard. So you don't know what that is?
Nope.
Okay. So to John,
I know what a beard is. Yes.
I wrote this here. To John, a beard is a fake boyfriend or girlfriend that you're with publicly to hide the fact that you're actually gay. So, like, you're a lesbian, but you marry a man, and you continue to have relationships with women
it's a
privately.
Show horse.
Right.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which, spoiler alert to anybody who hasn't read the book, Evelyn marries Harry, and Cecilia marries Harry's boyfriend. So publicly, Evelyn and Harry, and Cecilia and I forget his name, we'll just call him John, are 2 couples. But privately, Evelyn and Cecilia are together, and Harry and John are together. So, because they're celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
They're like actors and stuff. So they publicly look like 2 straight couples, but privately they're 2 gay couples. So they get the benefits, the legal benefits of marriage and having a false life, but in private they are gay. So, like I said,
sounds very risky.
Yeah, but it happened a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure it still does. Especially with like celebrities. Like people think Taylor Swift is gay and that her boyfriends have all been beards and stuff. So I'm not a gayler. We're not going to go there, but It's a thing.
Nah, there'd be hidden messaging in her song.
There is.
Oh, okay.
There definitely is.
My bad.
So yeah, the legality of it, probably not so much now that gay marriage is legal, but it's a possibility.
Interesting. I did not know this existed.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right. And then number 5 was a bonus that you actually came up with.
I did.
Yeah.
Would you like me to share it?
I would.
Okay. So, the 5th reason, and probably my favorite, actually, out of all of them, because just the simplicity is just so beautiful here. People lie because they're just tired of the stupid questions
Right.
they get. When somebody asks, how did you meet? And you tell them, I don't know, I met at a piercing convention, or I don't know, I was getting my nuts crushed, like you mentioned earlier. People like us, we don't lie.
Right.
And for folks that try to stay on that same path, but then get a follow-on meeting because they need to know more, I can understand that.
Yeah.
The simple answer is, I just don't want to answer all the questions.
Right. You get sick of the questions.
Yeah.
It happens, and especially when you're like going through a milestone as well. Like you get engaged or you're getting married or you're having a baby or whatever, and then everybody wants to know, and you're just like, God, I've told this story 15,000 times. Like we met on a cruise. I don't know.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You just make shit up.
Yeah.
So those are I think that's pretty solid list of reasons why people might be inclined to lie. What I also found interesting is what kind of meeting would prompt you to lie in the first place? Because that changes over time. We've talked a lot about Tinder, seeking arrangement, those kinds of things, but Tinder didn't exist 20 years ago, and yet people still lied. So we can kind of dig into some of those embarrassing meetings of the past.
Sure. That sounds like fun.
So I had to, I wasn't alive for some of these, so you'll have to correct me if I have a misunderstanding of some of them. I had to kind of use my knowledge.
Just because you weren't alive doesn't mean I was interested. So
okay.
There's going to be a gap here, I feel.
So this first one is interesting because it's different depending on the time period that you're talking about it. But meeting on a game show. In like the 70s, there was a lot of game shows. There was like, Bachelor number 1, 2, and 3, and you would ask them questions behind a wall and then pick the love connection. Like there was all sorts of stuff like that, right? And I feel like if you were to meet on one of those game shows back then and it works out, it would be very easy to lie because likely not a lot of people watched it. You could just kind of like fade into the background unless you were that woman who almost went on the date with a serial killer and then that just lives in infamy forever. But the likelihood of anybody really knowing or even recognizing you with the crappy TV quality back in the day, probably very low. So you wouldn't necessarily have to tell anybody.
And there wasn't social media to blast you in public.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yes.
Because today, not so much. Because if you're going on a dating game today, so like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Love is Blind, the entire world is watching you. And then as soon as this show is over, you're just an influencer with a shitty podcast at that point. Like there's no going into oblivion. That you cannot lie. You cannot go on The Bachelor and then tell people that, you met at the gym. No, you met him because he was sleeping with you and 25 other women to try to find his wife, and in 6 years you're going to be getting divorced.
The runner-up finally gets her prize?
Yes. Another one that I think is very funny and would be quite embarrassing is video dating. This is a concept that I am only aware of from that one episode of Full House. But apparently you would just sit in front of a camera and basically spell out what your Tinder bio would be and your likes and interests, and then people would pay $9.99 for a VHS and watch it and just pick someone from the catalog. I don't really know how that works. But I would lie about that too.
It's so inefficient.
Right. Very inefficient.
Oh my God.
And how did it, Was it based on like a geographical location? Like, how do you like? What if you bought this VHS and then the girl of your dreams was in California and you're in Timbuktu?
I have no answers for this at all.
Yeah.
I think we should reinvigorate this.
Should we?
Yes,
Okay.
we should.
Okay.
It'll bring meaning back to my my VHS story that I came up with a few episodes ago.
Yes. Yeah, this one was very interesting to me. And again, if you met your partner through a video date, if your parents met that way, please explain it to me because I don't understand.
Well, it's like, what are you gonna tell somebody? Be like, yeah, it took us like 4 months to
Right.
finally understand who we were. One of the tapes got lost in the mail, so that third tape was a little interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Then we've got personal ads. So for this one, I mean, like, how is this any different from what Tinder is? Tinder is the digitalization of the personal ad, in my opinion. You have a certain amount of characters to display who you are and what you're looking for. Maybe like I could see how you maybe would seem desperate putting out a personal ad, paying for it. I don't know.
This was actually very common back in the early 1900s, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was not something that was frowned upon. This was something that was actually part of the courting process, if I understood it correctly.
Interesting.
Yes. Okay, let me rephrase that. Maybe not part of the courting process,
Okay.
because each process had its own rules and guidelines.
Right.
There were calling on and courting and all of these different cool terms that involved different processes. And I mean, you would have been better off video dating, but yeah, I mean, dudes would go on there and talk about their wealth and everything that they own and all this shit, and they would have like criteria.
Okay.
Like you have the female under 25 does dishes, cook food, have child.
Right.
And that's what they were looking for.
Okay.
And I think going back to like our Leo conversation a few episodes back, I think 25 was like the cutoff then too, because of like being able to create the children's
And survive childbirth.
right
Basically.
So yeah, it's a really shitty situation for females back in those times.
It's pretty much always a shitty situation for females.
Yeah, I mean it was like common for like, okay, well you've aged out,
Right.
time to replace you,
And that's where
kind of deal.
the spinster comes in. You had to get a job because you didn't have a husband to support you. That's why they're called a spinster.
I
they're older.
see. I did not know this.
Ah, you learn something new every day.
Yes.
So, personal ads, they're whatever. I kind of get if you would want to lie about that. Maybe if you put out a personal ad, think of a backup story, or maybe take a lesson from the Pina Colada song and realize that you don't need a new lover, you need therapy.
Well, I can't help but think like I know I've ran across a few of these in my time of like the Tinder profiles and like their acceptance criteria, very serious acceptance criteria.
It's usually height for men.
Well, it was a female had posted something, had to make a certain amount per year, had to have this much in the bank, had to have like these types of cars, and like if you don't like meet these standards, like I'm not even going to like, don't even contact me.
Right.
So I mean it's still kind of relevant today, these personal ads.
Well, with men, it's usually like, don't weigh more than 100 pounds. You see that a lot.
I haven't looked, but I mean, I think I just saw this one that I was referencing. And I
Right.
wish I could remember it because it was very specific. It was very funny.
All right, so moving more forward into the future, we've got meeting at a bar. This particular one is, I think, what sparked my interest in this topic to begin with.
Okay.
I always think back to the episode of The Office, and they're at Karen's office.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking about her husband, and Pam's like, "Oh, how'd you meet?" And she's like, "Oh my God, at a bar. Like, can you believe that? That's so embarrassing." And I never understood why. I was like, what? Once upon a time, meeting at a bar was the embarrassing way to meet someone, and you would lie about it. And I don't get it. Like, I guess there's the implication that you're just, like, looking to get drunk and hook up. And that's what we keep coming back to, is the implication of it all. Like, you just want to have sex, but you're right. You've said it before. Like, that's 9 times out of 10, when you are meeting someone, your intention is to hook up. Maybe, yes, you like them and you want to have a relationship with them, but that also means that you want to have sex with them. So, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why that would be embarrassing. It just never doesn't make sense to me.
So the meeting at the bar thing. So this was different.
Okay.
Prior to Fridays, TGI Fridays.
Oh my God, I could go for some potato skins right now.
Yeah, prior to TGI Fridays, like bars were dark alleyway, kind of like run down, not the bright, fun places that you're familiar with today. Bars of those days was for I don't know, just disgruntled, angry men who sat at bars and just sat in the dark all by themselves all day.
Exactly my type.
So because of that, if you said that you met somebody in a bar when they projected that image, then that is why women would want to cover that up, because they didn't belong in bars in those days. Now that changed when TGI Fridays came about, and they really changed the culture of what is acceptable as far as the bar scene. And they really flipped it on its head by bringing in color and light and fun crap on the walls and, creating an environment that was acceptable, really. So up until like that time frame, that is why meeting at a bar was seen as kind of a negative, because what was your ass doing in a bar?
Gotcha. Okay. Right. All right. I get that. All right. I was not born then, so I don't know. I wasn't aware. Sorry.
I saw this on the History Channel.
Which also ages you a bit, doesn't it, darling?
It does not. Because the History Channel is still here.
All right.
You're welcome.
And then finally, you've got meeting online. So once upon a time, this was the most embarrassing way to meet someone. eHarmony, Match.com, OkCupid. You didn't want to tell anybody that you were on these sites. You didn't want to say that you were talking to someone that you've never met before. This goes back to Friends, season 3 of Friends, when Chandler accidentally meets Janice again online, and everybody makes fun of him. It was once really embarrassing, but now it's pretty much the only way to meet someone. Like, people are genuinely shocked when they hear a couple met in real life. Like, when I was on web crawlers and Allie asked how we met, and I said, like, I started to tell the story, she was like, "Oh my God, you met in real life?" Like, yeah, it was, believe me, I was on the apps. I'm not saying I'm any better than that, but it just, it's pretty much the only way to go about it. And especially, I didn't even think about this, but like COVID. Yeah. During COVID, like it's the only way to have any connection with people.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking
if
primarily.
You were single, like, yeah, oh my God, that must have sucked.
That just really like, yeah, oh God. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
As time evolves, these things become less embarrassing, and now meeting online isn't embarrassing anymore because it's the only way. So, I have a question for you.
Oh, yes.
What do you think is going to be the next embarrassing way to meet someone? What do you think people are maybe right now lying about? I think the metaverse.
Yeah.
Maybe because I don't quite understand it. But putting on a virtual reality and entering a room with other people who are not physically there with you but are there, that seems a little dorky to me.
I mean, it is, but it's also not a new concept.
Well, I know it's not a new concept, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I feel like remember Second Life?
I never messed with it. No.
Okay, but like you would, you would create your person, and
it's a mini metaverse.
Exactly.
It's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when that was really big, people definitely met on Second Life, but they wouldn't tell people about it. That's how I feel the metaverse is. Now, I think it'll change, and probably a lot quicker than some of these other things have.
Oh, yeah.
But I think there are definitely people meeting in the metaverse and not telling people that that's where they met.
I could see that. I don't, like, I can't think of, obviously I'm not in the dating circuit right now. So I really don't, like, know, like, what would be.
Ooh, I've got another one. Met at some sort of social gathering in early 2020. Because that just means you were not following COVID guidelines. You should lie about that. Or met in Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021. Or 2022, whatever it was.
I don't think you're lying about how you met. I think you're lying about how you spent your day. That's my opinion.
So yeah, that's just we'll see. Maybe we'll do a 5-year check-in and see if the metaverse, if I was right, if people are finally coming clean about having met in the metaverse.
Well, another, just thinking of like the COVID thing,
Mm-hmm.
with the hookup culture,
Mm-hmm.
I could find it very realistic
Mm-hmm.
that folks would hook up, maybe not be as careful as they should be,
Mm-hmm.
and we're getting all these COVID babies,
Uh-huh.
and that might be like how they got together, how
Right.
they met,
Right.
and it wasn't something that they nurtured.
Yeah.
They just found out later.
Yeah, that's another interesting concept. Like, what if you were either like just started dating, or maybe like had an accidental pregnancy that you knew about in like February of 2020, and then March came around and you kind of got to make a decision. Like, I've only known you for 3 months, but you're 3 months pregnant and we don't know what's going on. Do we hunker down? Do we live together? Do we, we just started dating, but we really like each other? Like, what do you want to stay at my house for 2 weeks that turns into 3 months? That's an interesting concept. That, you know what?
I don't know what you're thinking.
I feel like I could interview some people about that. I would be very interested to see the dynamics a few years later of whether or not those things work out. So if that happened to you, please let me know. Hit me up, the DMs, because I want to talk to you. So that's that.
Well, I hope that this 5 primary reason list was enjoyable. I would love to say that it was something that we found on the interweb, but it wasn't there.
No.
So we had to create it.
Yes.
And just for a quick recap, I know we had a lot of stories in between, but for the 5 reasons, let's just recap those quickly.
Okay.
1, trying to impress yourself.
Mm-hmm.
2, trying to impress others.
Mm-hmm.
3, you're doing some shit you don't want somebody to know about. The secret life stuff, right? 4, legal reasons. And 5, because I don't want to answer your questions.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
That is butter good.
That's the best one.
But regardless of all of these reasons and where you feel that certain stories might fall, you just have to be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gives a fuck about the way you met anybody.
Yep.
Because they're too worried about what they're going to tell you.
Yep. That's true.
They're hyper fixated on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So on that note, have you ever lied about a partner that you've met? Which of our 5 reasons are you? Who did you lie to and why? We'd love to hear your story. But better yet, in the spirit of today's episode, why don't you tell us the story about how you met Emily and I?
I mean, we realize we haven't met in real life, except we probably have because all 8 of our listeners we know in real life. But if you were to tell a lie about how you met John and I, what would it be? What would be the fairy tale story?
So we will be taking submissions for 2 weeks from today's date. I don't know what that date's going to be, but whenever today is.
I will tell you. Let me give you 1 second. Let me pull up my trusty calendar. That is October 18th, 2022.
All right. So we'll start taking the submissions on October the 18th, and we will allow them to come in for 2 weeks.
So that will be November 1st.
Yes.
2022.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And basically, Emily and I will just look over our favorite stories, and whoever we decide has the best one, the best crazy, grandiose Shrek type story there is out there.
Really get creative.
Yes.
Make us laugh.
You're going to win a $50 Amazon gift card.
Do I get to enter?
No. No, you don't.
Damn.
You have Amazon gift cards. It's called bank account.
My whole life is an Amazon gift card.
So to submit your story, just please email it to onthickIcepod@gmail.com. In order to be eligible, you must be residents of the United States. Follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our podcast on your desired platform. We will confirm.
Please, God, listen to us. We're begging.
Push the button.
Push the button, God damn it. So yes, very exciting first giveaway. You've got 2 weeks from today's date. Like I said, that's October 18th. And I guess we'll announce the winner. If we're giving you to the first, we'll announce it in the next episode, I guess. So that would be on the 8th. And we'll contact the winner also via email or Instagram. However you send us the story is how we'll contact you. We're really good at this, if you can't tell.
I'm thinking like I don't think we need to put it in an episode.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, we gotta. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I guess we could. Yeah.
We could because we should read it. We should read it.
That's yeah, but how does that?
Okay, so this is what we'll do. We'll contact the winner.
Yeah.
And then after that's all done, whatever episode we're recording, we'll tell the story in whatever episode that is. So it'll get up eventually. We'll bring it all back for you guys. But if you're the winner, you will be contacted by the end of the first week of November.
Yes.
There we go.
Should we do an interview with the winner?
If the winner wants to be interviewed,
okay,
we'll give you the option.
Because I mean, depending on the story and like how wild this gets,
it might be really good.
I might want to know what the hell's wrong with this person.
Yeah.
I mean, just being full frontal.
Yeah. Yeah. We're kind of coming up with this on the fly, if you guys haven't noticed, but it'll be good. It'll be good. Just think of something wild. Tell us a fun story. Make us laugh. If you win, you definitely win $50. You might get the chance to be on the pod if you would like to be, and you might become our new best friend.
And there's a chance you might like me more.
You probably will. Most people do.
Okay, bye. Bye, baskets. On Thick Ice is created, hosted, and produced by Emily and John Shacklet.
To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at OnThickIcePod, email us at onthickIcepod@gmail.com, or call our hotline 415-494-7275. Subscribe to On Thick Ice wherever you get your podcasts.